Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching the channel for the very first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions, but not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out to those follow me on social media. And I want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into your devices. So, if you have not done so already, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. Please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, as you can see by the thumbnail, um, the topic for tonight is, can we learn from our mistakes? And I've already placed the link in the chat for anyone who wishes to join. But let me remind everybody regarding the rules of the stream. Number one, do not overtalk anybody. Number two, do not disrespect anyone on the panel or on the chat. Number three, if you use as an avatar any genitalia, male or female, as your avatar, you will be immediately blocked. And most importantly, please do not bring your beefs to this platform. Okay, I understand that there people may have beefs with others, and that's perfectly fine. Just don't bring it here. Okay. But in any case, what I'm before we get into that topic, we're going to have another episode of what the heck this is. Okay. Now you're probably wondering what's going on with this award. Okay. I'm going to explain to you what's going on. Now, lately, the radical Latino has gotten a lot of grief with his denunciation and ADOS as a hate group. And as a result, you had a lot of people who accuse him of being a racist. Now, I have known Radical Latino for almost 2 years. I have spoken to him privately. He is not a racist. What he's doing is he's putting a light the fact that there are those who are FBA and ADOS who are racist. Okay? Let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not saying that all FBA and all ADOS are bad. There are FBA and ADOS which really do care about the African American community and are concerned with their issues and their plight. Okay. However, when you have certain members of FBA and ADOS telling Latinos to go back to their countries of origin and all that sort of thing and other racist crap, we need to put a light on it. And just as eagerly ridiculous is being willing to expose racism when it comes to Latinos. However, when it comes to dealing with those ADOS and FBA that are racist, all of a sudden, oh, they they have a beef with someone to who. All I'm going to say is the following. If you're going to call racist Latinos, and we all should do that, you have better be equally prepared to call out the racism from FBA and ADOS, and don't enable them by simply saying, oh, they have beefs. Because what you are doing a disservice to all the responsible, level-headed FBA and ADOS. Now, I see that there's 3 people watching the stream. I just want to say thank you very much. And one more thing. The topic is, what can we learn from our mistakes? Anyone attempting to, after I finish discussing this topic, anyone attempting to enter a comment regarding FBA or ADOS, they will be immediately blocked. Okay? You can talk about all that and you respect the channel. This is my platform. This is how I run things. So now that being said, we're going to get into the topic, which is, again, can we learn from our mistakes? And let me just, if you forgive the biblical term, the genesis of this topic. From time to time, we are all going to make mistakes, whether it be errors in judgment, whether it be poor decisions, or whether it be certain outcomes that we have not anticipated. So what I'm going to be discussing is how can we learn from our mistakes, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a short video, which is about 3 minutes long. Let me just make it clear. It's free use. But the whole purpose behind this video is to illustrate some principles which we will discuss tonight. I hope my Wi-Fi will cooperate, so I can just give me a moment.
Whenever someone had why did this happen to me? How do I get out of this situation? Why is this my luck? As if they're the first person to ever have this problem. And I feel for you. Problems suck. I've had my fair share of problems in my life. But I have a wake-up call for you. You are not special. You're in debt. You fail a class. Get fired from a job. Get divorced. Somebody else has been there before, and that's a good thing. It's that you already exist. You're just not looking in the right places for the answer. It's because you're thinking with your emotions. Intent. That's what you feel in the moment, but it's not how you feel when you solve a problem. You feel when you solve a problem. You need to detach your emotions from the problem. There's always a way out. Researching. If it's a money problem, there's ways to find money. If it's a money problem, there's ways to find money or make money. If you feel an interview or a test, there will be another opportunity. You have to be able to let go. You can't hold grudges with people. And you especially can't hold grudges with yourself. Beating yourself up for something negative that's already been done, it's nonsense. There's no way to change the Now, when you forget the emotion and the mistake, but you don't forget the lesson. Because every mistake is a lesson. The bigger the cost, the bigger the lesson. I read a business consulting book a while back, and in the book, the author wrote about time, and someone asked him if they would fire a good employee who made a one-time mistake that cost the company $10,000. He responded, no. Why would I fire him? I just spent $10,000 training him. Some mistakes are expensive, and you'll just have to live with that. But I can guarantee you, if you make a $10,000 mistake, like our friend in the anecdote there, you won't make it again. There's some things in life that are under your control, and there's some things that just aren't. Or the things that aren't under control, just let them run their course. You know, I rarely argue with people. You know why? Because they're not going to change their mind, especially if they're set in their ways. I let them talk out their anger or discontent. You know what's even better than learning from your mistakes? Not making them in place. I'm careful with everything in my life. I'm careful about the types of people I surround myself with. I'm careful about what I spend money on. Because sometimes these things lead to problems. They seem like small problems at first, but they can quickly escalate. You'll figure it out. I just hope you have a chance to learn from your mistakes and the mistakes of others that came before you. As you are learning from your mistakes, subscribe to the Endless Motivation channel for more.
Okay. Now, this is the reason why I chose to share this video. It's a short video, but it has a powerful message, which talks about, first of all, accountability for your actions. Also, learn from the mistakes and not to repeat them, and not be led by emotions. So for that reason, I chose this short little video clip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you some observations which I have made. And of course, you're welcome to enter your comments in the chat. Just keep it respectable, please. Okay. Now, the first thing that we need to do when it comes to mistakes, we need to admit that we made a mistake. And that could be a humbling experience for many of us because we are full of pride, okay? We have an ego, and some of us has an ego the size of Texas or Alaska. However, if we ever going to recover from our misdeeds, we have to admit that we made a mistake. And that means taking accountability for your actions. It does not mean putting the blame on your spouse or your child or your parents. It does not mean putting the blame on your environment or your circumstances. Because when everything is said and done, each chose the path of actions. So therefore, we need to admit that we made a mistake. And actually, that's the first step in coming to a resolution to a problem, is to admit that you made a mistake, to admit you erred, to admit that you made a wrong decision. Be humble enough to admit it. And actually, I don't know about you, but I have more respect for people when they are able to admit they made a mistake. I know in my 60 years of life here on planet Earth, I made a truck full of mistakes, and some of them were real doozies. Okay. However, there are two choices. You can deny you made a mistake or admit that you made a mistake. So the first thing to be mindful is to admit where you're at. Now, the next thing you need to do is examine your actions. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, if you are able, without the emotion, take a look at the steps you have taken to reach the point where you're at now. Okay. Now, sometimes you're gonna think, and you're gonna say to yourself, "I should have moved left, but I moved right," or "I should have moved right, or I should have moved left," or maybe I should not have gone forward. So you take a look at the steps that you're taking. You examine it without the emotion, without the pity party, but simply take a look at the steps you have taken, which leads to the next course: correct your errors. And what that means, correct your errors. If you say something offensive to a person, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to go to that person. You're going to say, "I apologize. I see that these words offended you, and I'm not going to do these words, say these words." If a person committed an act that was offensive or hurtful, they're gonna make a promise, and they're gonna keep it, not to repeat that act or those actions. Okay. Also, another thing that's very important is taking accountability for your actions and taking accountability for the consequences. Because each action has consequences. There are consequences which are positive, and there are consequences which are negative, which leads you to the next thing. Don't repeat your errors. Okay? And what I mean by that, it means just as simply as that. If you know that a habit annoys someone, whether it be smoking or not picking up after yourselves or lying, don't do it. Okay? And if you keep doing it, it means like you really have not learned the lesson. And it can cause other problems with among yourself and with your peers. Now, another thing that we can do is treat the mistakes as learning lessons. And I'm going to give myself as a perfect example. There have been times where I acted out of emotion, and the consequences were not positive. Whether it be because of decisions which were made without thinking the facts, or whether it be words that I said to other people, or whether it be leaping into paths or lanes or paths of decisions where if I had thought about it more carefully, I might have chose another alternative as far as those acts are concerned. And why I say treat it as a learning as a lesson, it gives you an example. What was the consequences of your misdeeds? Particularly if those decisions led to a very negative outcome. So by learning from using these mistakes as learning lessons, you learn to be more careful with your actions, be more careful with your words, be more careful with your thoughts. And before you make any promises, you're going to examine your individual situation to see if you're able to keep your word or not. And if you're not able to keep your word, then come out and be an adult and admit it and explain the circumstances. So why? In the Bible talks about we shouldn't swear or take an oath. It says also, let your yes be yes and your no be no, because anything else, it comes from the adversary, which is the devil. Which leads us to the next thing to consider. Forgive yourself. Now, this is especially true if you have done something that was very hurtful to someone. And what are some examples of that? You and you were unfaithful to your spouse. Okay, that could be a very painful experience, um, because what it does, it creates a great deal of distrust between the man and the woman, or the man and the man, and woman and woman. So once a trust has been damaged or destroyed, it takes a long time to get that trust back, and sometimes it can never be returned. However, you you constantly beating yourself over a mistake that you made, that's not going to change the situation. What you should do is take accountability for your actions, accept the consequences of your actions, learn from your actions, and just move on. And that's something that I had to do within the last few months, regarding some event. I did not illustrate myself in the best light. Okay. Which brings me to the next point. Do not sweat your past. Okay. What do I mean by that? That means do not continue to rehash it again and again and again, the mistakes that you made 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. Okay? If you know in your heart and hearts that you have admitted that you made a mistake, if you know in your heart and hearts you took accountability for your actions, if you know in your heart of hearts that you examine yourself and see where you erred, if you were able to take corrective action, not to make the same mistakes, do not keep sweating about them. Okay? You're not doing yourself any favors by doing that. What you're doing is you're just opening up old wounds, which is something that you don't need. Okay? Which brings up another point. Do not bring up past mistakes. Now, some of us are very good when it comes to keep rehashing the mistakes that others people have made, but yet we don't like it when it's done to us. Or more likely, let me just put it, when it's done to me. Now, what is the solution to it? don't keep bringing up their past mistakes. Okay? The last time I checked, the only one that's perfect, the only one that never made a mistake, the only one that never had to say I'm sorry was God Himself. Okay? None of us is God. None of us can be God. So we cannot continue to bring up past mistakes that people make. Because what you're doing is opening up all wounds, and next thing you know, you're creating more conflict between the other person. Which leads me to my next point. Don't be judgmental. Okay, and what do I mean by that? We're very quick to play the accusing angel. We're very quick to talk about one's flaws and imperfections and whatnot. But one thing we must bear in mind is that whenever you extend an accusing finger, what you do is you have four fingers pointing back at yourself. Just something to think about. Okay. Which brings me to my next point. If you can learn from small mistakes, you will avoid big mistakes. Okay. And what do I mean by that? If you can learn to make better choices and avoid those little faux pas, you will avoid the big mistakes. Okay. Now, I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect. I'm far from it. Okay. And maybe tell you something. In my 6 years of life, I made a lot of mistakes. Okay. And you know what? I'm gonna continue to make mistakes until the day that I close my eyes for good. Okay. And knowing that helps me to remain humble and to be mindful that since I can make mistakes, so therefore try to be a little bit more tolerant with others when they make mistakes. Okay. Now the next thing that will help you is allow yourself time for self-reflection. And you probably want to say, what the heck does that mean? Okay. Self-reflection is what it is. You're going to examine yourself. Okay, I see the Wi-Fi. Okay, excuse me. So you're going to examine your life. You're going to examine every aspect of your life. And you're going to see what areas of your life you need to improve. What areas of your life to avoid. And what positive areas of your life to enhance. So you're going to be honest with yourself. You're going to be honest with yourself as far as those areas what you're doing well, those areas that you're not doing well, and where you need to improve. Okay. And you can do that at any time. Now, in my case, there's certain times of the year where I will focus on self-reflection. Okay. One is the time around my birthday, when as I approach my birthday and complete another year, what I would do is take a look at my life and see where I did well, where I did not do well, and where I can improve. Another time for self-reflection for me is that time in the Christian calendar known as Advent, which is the weeks prior to Christmas. Right now, for those of us who believe in Christianity, we're in a season of Advent, which is a time of preparation, a time of reflection. So I'm taking this time to reflect where I need to improve and those areas which I have done well, and also those areas when I need to do better. Which leads me to the next 2 points: be understanding. Okay, this is very important because we are going to deal with all different types of people. We're going to deal with people where it's easy to get along with. We're going to deal with people who make life a living purgatory. Okay, but it helps when you are understanding, and it does not mean allow people to do whatever. What it does mean is that you're gonna try to be a little bit understanding and deal with people where they are. Because the fact of the matter is, you will be dealing with people of different levels of maturity, growth, and what have you. Excuse me. You're going to be dealing with people who are intellectually at your level, and you're going to deal with people who are not intellectually at your level. You're going to deal with people who are more polished and refined, and you're going to deal with people who are not so polished and refined. Okay, but you're going to try to be understanding and deal with people where they are. Which leads me to the next thing: being patient. Okay, and let's keep it 1,000. Sometimes we got to deal with those peers that will try to push your ever living, ever loving, blasted buttons, and the temptation is going to be to scream at them, curse them out, and what have you. Okay. It might feel good emotionally, but that's not going to solve any problems. Believe me, in my time as a YouTube creator, which has been over a year, I have to deal with a lot of mentally challenged people. I don't know if some of the people might not remember, but I have a term for these people, which I call the mentally and intellectually challenged. Our friend Denise Gonzalez in Spain refers to them as the slow taps. But whether it be the mix or the slow taps or what have you, we need to be patient to the extent that we can. And we also must be mindful when to avoid these people when it's necessary. because they will try to rob you of your peace. Which leads me the next point, which is didn't keep others where they are. Now, as some of you may already know, I am a born again Christian. However, I have friends and other people who I associate with who are not Christian. Okay, so what I don't do is I don't beat them over the head with a whole bunch of Bible verses talking about they'll go to hell and whatnot, because that's unfortunately that's how some of my Christian brethren has acted. Okay, no, I try to deal with everyone where they're at, and hopefully they'll do the same thing with me. Okay. First of all, it is not my place to judge. The only one that can cast judgment is God himself. Excuse me. So whether it be dealing with intellectually gifted people, whether it be dealing with professionals, whether it be dealing with people from the hood, try to deal with each one where they act without putting on airs, without trying to think that you're better, that you're better than others. Because the fact of the matter is, at the risk of sounding preachy, God can use anybody for his purposes. He can use people which know the Lord and those who don't know the Lord. He can use anyone for whatever purposes that he has. So that being said, the last thing we need is to think of ourselves as better as we are, because we are all unique. We're all wonderfully made by God. So there's no need to get into a high horse and thinking ourselves as superior to anybody. So, and the fact of the matter is, God is very good in humbling the proud. So I'd rather keep myself humble than have God have to humble me through set of circumstances and whatnot. Which leads me to the next point. Be humble to accept criticism. Now, when I mean criticism, I mean constructive criticism. Okay? So if a friend of mine speaks to me in private and tells me I have a habit which is not very productive or not very helpful, I'm going to be humble and I'm going to listen to what that person says, and if that makes sense, then I'm going to accept. You know what? You're right. I need to be humble and accept the fact that I have a flaw or flaws. Okay. And for some, it's easy to be humble. For others, it's very difficult because we have a thing called an ego. And we like to think of ourselves as something other than what others see us to be. Which we must be mindful of who we are, and we have to be mindful how to deal with others where they are. Okay? And of course, I'm sure sometimes people question me is, why do I associate with certain individuals? I know some of you are sick and tired of hearing me saying the same thing again and again. But I'm going to repeat it anyway. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. It is that simple. Meaning, if you can deal with me with all my multiple imperfections, if you can deal with me with all my idiosyncrasies, if you can deal with me when I'm both at my best or at my worst, then I can do the same. That's all it means. And another thing that we need to bear in mind, and for some people it's very difficult, and I see here we have good evening. Thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you're doing well tonight. And on this, we learn from our mistakes. Okay. So what I've been doing is I've been illustrating what I see is certain things for us to help us to learn from our mistakes. And that's a sense and that's a level of maturity. And we all know, Gigi, that not everyone has a high level of maturity. I'm not going to mention any names, but we both know who they are. Okay. Now, the reason why I say learn to forgive, it is because, look, we are going to do things or say things that's going to rub people the wrong way. We're going to do things or say things that's going to piss them off. Okay. In some cases, unintentional. In others, unfortunately, will be intentional. Okay. And the thing is to learn when we make a mistake and not to repeat the same mistake. I know there have been many times where I have to admit that I screwed up. And I see here we have the presence of Arturo. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. The topic for tonight is can we learn from our mistakes? Okay. So basically, what I've been doing is I've been sharing some observations regarding it. And you're absolutely correct. Okay, it's very, very important to learn from our mistakes. And but you know what? It requires something called accountability. Not all of us are blessed with that. Okay. And let's see. And I see this another comment. Okay, you know what that is, Arturo? That's called maturity. Okay, that's what it is. When you are able to learn from your mistakes, and I see here we also have Magic Molanta. Good evening. Again, I'm sorry I missed your stream last night. For some reason, I did not get the notification, but it happens. The topic, like I said before, the topic for tonight is can we learn from our mistakes? Which leads me to the final point is that guess what? We're all human. Okay? Some of us less human, others more human. Okay. So the whole point regarding all this is to learn from our mistakes and do better. Okay. Oops, let me see I see. Okay, and I see here, Magic says, we're all human and we fall short of what it is we got to admit and own up and apologize and move on. Okay? I agree. And like I said before, I have made some big mistakes. Okay? Gee, what is the worst mistake? Okay. You know something? That's a good question. But I think one of the worst mistakes that I've made was, and I don't know how it's gonna sit with some people. Marrying my ex-wife. I should have done a better job trying to get to know her. Unfortunately, when you are in love, logic sometimes goes out the window. So what I have learned is that I need to be more careful regarding who I marry with. And I see here we have another comment, which was the biggest mistake I made was staying too long in the suburbs. Really? I mean, you know what? It all depends what was the set of circumstances. So I'm not too sure if that was a mistake, but we're all human. Okay. Well, you know what? In life, it's full of what if, should have, and could haves. But the reality is this: you cannot sweat regarding the mistakes of the past too much. And I see here we have another comment. The verbs need more culture and community, and it would be fine. Okay. I have never lived in the suburbs, so I am not in a position to say yay or nay. Okay. I have lived in the city. Okay, and let's see here, and we have another comment. Everyone just stick to themselves in the suburbs, and seems like that's boring. Okay, well, you know what, Magic and Altero, you have me at a disadvantage because I have never, live like a time in the suburbs. Okay, and I see here we have another comment. Okay, interesting, but okay. But you see, the whole point is to admit you made a mistake and to examine where you went wrong and just make sure you don't repeat the same mistake. Oh, yes, I agree. It's always good to travel. And I have been fortunate because I have actually traveled to 6 countries in my lifetime. The countries I visited: once in Canada, 2 in the Dominican Republic, 3 in Puerto Rico, once in Colombia, once in Mexico, and once in Panama. And I love to travel. And let's see here, we got another comment, which is, City more Byron. I've been to cities overseas as well, Spain, the Netherlands, and Italy. Interesting. Now I came across a video where over in the Netherlands, they don't like it when you say Holland. They prefer that you say the Netherlands. I think it has to do with the fact that Holland is just a part of the country. Okay. Oh, so you've been to Mexico too? 3 years ago. Okay. Excuse me. I was briefly. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I was briefly in Puerto Vallarta. Okay. Oh, I see you've been around quite a bit. Okay. Okay. So I see. Okay. Yes. So I see. Excuse me. So I see that you've been doing a great deal of traveling. I don't know if you have a YouTube channel, but maybe if you have not, you can share some of your experiences regarding some of the places that you visited. Now, I do appreciate the fact that there's currently 7 people viewing this stream, and I just want to say thank you very much. What I would appreciate, if you have not done so, please hit the like button as you enter. It doesn't cost you anything, and it does help me with the algorithm. Now, I have been talking for almost an hour, and the link is in the chat. If anyone wants to join the panel and express their point of view regarding the topic, they're more than welcome. Okay. Oh, I see you. I see you've been okay. Okay. So it looks like you have. It looks like you have traveled extensively to Mexico, which is wonderful. Okay. Now, unfortunately, there have been people that have not stepped foot outside of the United States for reasons only they know. But I do believe that there's a huge world out there to visit, and now that a lot of these COVID-19 restrictions have been lifted, if you're able, I would suggest that you do some traveling, whether it be domestic or international. Now, I have been fortunate to have done both. I mean, I've been to Florida, let's see, I think about 5 times. I've been to Texas once. I've been to Las Vegas once. I've been to Chicago, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. I've been to Boston twice. You're kidding. You gotta be kidding. Malata Magic, you have never been out of the US? Well, if you can, try to visit. I mean, there are many places for you to visit outside the United States. Now, it's all depending on what you're into and what you're looking for. I mean, first of all, there is, of course, Central and South America. There's also the Caribbean. Okay. But you know something, Magic? It's never too late for you to travel. It's never too late. Okay. Oh, I see. You've been to 5 countries. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Well, if I can make a suggestion, get your passport. Okay. First of all, it's okay. You know what? I have never been to Europe and I've never been to South America. I would like to go there one day. Um, maybe when I retire, when I have a lot of free time. So, but getting back, Magic, my suggestion is for you to get yourself a passport. You and your husband, and plan it. Okay. Yeah. I renewed my passport last year. Okay. Um, it's not a difficult process, but if you really are thinking about doing any traveling, particularly within the next 6 months, I really think you should renew your passport. Um, and you're not going to regret it. Well, I don't think you're going to regret it. And Magic, I really do think you should renew your passport. Okay. But that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link again. Okay. If anyone wishes to join the panel, they're more than welcome to do so. If you choose not to, that's perfectly fine. Okay. If you want to enter any further comments, that's perfectly fine as well. Because some people, let's keep it real, they feel more comfortable entering their comments. And sometimes they can be very busy. Okay. Because, and also I'm mindful there's a 3-hour difference right now. It's close to 6 o'clock in the West Coast. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with this stream for a few more minutes. If no one, okay. Okay. That's very interesting. Now, I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but I think Sao Paulo is the capital of Brazil. I could be wrong. Or it could, well, it's definitely in Brazil. Okay. Also, I would love one day to learn how to speak Portuguese. I know in some words in Portuguese is similar in Spanish. Okay. And it'll be interesting. Maybe I can make that something as a goal for next year to learn another language. So again, the link is in the chat. If anyone wants to join the panel. Now, let me just give you a little discussion regarding what's going to be the topic for Thursday. Okay. And the topic is, can we bring sanity back to the holidays? And the reason why I'm having this discussion, because every holiday season, we get obsessed with certain things. We got upset with spending more than we can for Christmas gifts. We get obsessed regarding special planning for get-togethers and meals and what have you. And then we also have certain expectations regarding the holidays. Okay, and I see Brazil is the capital of Brazil. Sao Paulo. Oh, okay. Largest city and has a Spanish community mainly of Autodencia and Guevara. Okay, you know what? I stand corrected. Thank you very much, Ato, for educating me on that. But at times we have unrealistic expectations when it comes to the holidays. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be discussing how can we bring some sanity and how we can enjoy the holidays without all the needed stress and worry and whatnot. Okay. And let's keep it real. For some people, um, it's going to be difficult to celebrate the holidays due to the fact that there are people that lost loved ones, and there are people that are going through a lot of trials and tribulations. So it will help if we can have realistic expectations regarding the holidays. It will lessen the level of stress considerably. Now, I already done some things to ease the stress. Number one, I already did my Christmas shopping. Okay, so I don't have to worry about going getting online and waiting for gifts, presents to come, gifts to come in, what have you. I don't have to go to the department store and argue with people. I'll get on those long can really be long, or have books which have the brain power of a tuna fish sandwich. So now that I completed my Christmas shopping, I can think about what's important for me, which is to sit down and reflect in my life. Oh, I see you did some Christmas shopping too. I think that's wonderful. Okay, one thing I do believe in, to, excuse me, is to try to get as much of your Christmas shopping is done as possible. Now I know that there's some people that wait to the last minute. Part of it is because they want to get special deals and what have you. You might be able to get some special deals, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna spike up your anxiety level a great deal. Okay, uh, I will pass on that, and I will use the rest of this time to reflect um, on my life and to reflect where what I've done, how it could be better, and also think about what are my goals um, for the new year. Okay. Now I'm gonna put down the link one more time. Okay. If no one else wants to join the panel, or if there's no other comments coming, I'll start to wrap this up. And I know that some of the things that I've discussed uh, may be easier said than others. What I did was just to share with all of you, the uncommon folk, regarding what are my observations and some of the things that I have learned in order to learn from my mistakes. So That being said, does anyone wishes to opine? If not, I will end the stream. And I gotta admit something. This is the first time. I think this is the longest that I have ever talked um, without a guest on the panel, and it's perfectly okay because there's going to be times where I'm going to be the only one talking. So as long as you have your notes, as long as you have information to share, it's not a bad thing. What's the bad thing is when you have nothing to share and you're just rambling on. Okay. So being that no one else is going to get on the panel or enter a comment, like I said before, I'm going to be doing a stream Thursday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, which is 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Okay, and the topic will be how to bring sanity to the holidays. And then on Friday, I will have a stream with how you define cults. That could be okay. That could be in some ways a controversial issue, and the reason why I'm bringing up this discussion is because we do have people that belong to cults, which are organizations where the members are not allowed to think for themselves, but someone like a leader. Okay. Now, the only exception where um, others should think for you if you're serving in the armed forces. Okay, because the fact of the matter is you need discipline and you cannot have a whole platoon of people, everyone deciding to have a different course of action. So that being said, I'm gonna start to wrap this up. I do appreciate that we have people like Arturo and Magic. I just want to let everybody know after the stream is over, you're more than welcome to express your point of view. All that I ask, please keep it respectable. And if you want to disagree, oh, I see we also have Irby. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. The topic for tonight is can we learn from our mistakes? So what I did in the beginning of the stream, I shared a 3-minute motivational video um, about how we can learn from our mistakes and not be overwhelmed by them. So, well, you know what? It happens. Don't feel so bad, Irby. Okay? Because remember, we're all human. We all make mistakes. Uh, Now, if I can suggest, if you can set the bell notification to all, so therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will be notified. Now, normally, YouTube will let those people know 30 minutes before the stream goes on the air to give everyone time to go to the bathroom, grab their snacks, eat a meal, take a nap, or do whatever that needs to be done. in order to be ready. I will be doing another stream Thursday. So don't feel so bad at being late. It happens. It happens to the best of us. I mean, so that's life. And plus, uh, um, you can always catch it on the playback. Okay, and I see, and the fact that there's still 7 people watching the stream, I find it amazing. Okay, and I understand some people may just want to watch, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, and who knows, maybe some of my haters are watching the stream as well. And I see here we have someone okay on the panel. So what I'm going to do is the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host or the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the permission of the channel host is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people might hold may be considered offensive to some. If you don't like the content, you can block the channel. And good evening, Future. Thank you very much for stopping by.
Hi, how you doing?
Good evening, Don Armando.
Yeah, I know. I'm just chilling. How's everybody?
Okay, I'm fine. The topic for tonight is, can we learn from our mistakes?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Now, I mean, it depends. It depends on what mistake that you make. Maybe you can learn how to treat people better. Maybe you could try to learn how to do something better. It actually depends because it's a broad question though.
Yeah. Now, what I did in the beginning of the stream, I showed a short 3-minute motivational video regarding learning from your mistakes. And the reason why I picked it, because in my estimation, it was appropriate for the topic. Because let's face it, we all gonna make mistakes. Some of them are real worse.
Hey Arturo, how you doing? Yeah.
Yes.
I
think. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. The thing is, there's certain things that I guess you learn from your mistakes, because it's like, I could say that with me, I learned not to be so trusting. Just try to see who it is and everything like that, because at the end of the day, sometimes if you're too trusting, you could actually fall in with the wrong people.
That's true. That's true. Because unfortunately, there are some evil people out there in this world.
You think? I'm like, yo, I don't know, but it's like, for example, well, not to get into personal. There was a guy that, that I thought that he was cool and everything like that. I didn't really want to hang out with him or anything like that, but I thought he was cool, right? But then when he started showing like his side, like he's like he could show that he's jealous and everything like that. So one day, right? I was with
Yeah.
Well, okay. Like in one of my streams, one of my coworkers was in the stream, right? So was on my stream.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up and I was waiting for my coworker to because he was hungry. He had something to eat, right? So this guy, knowing that I was eating my food, say, "Yo, man, why why don't like he was like, hey, what like can I get a slice or anything like that? I was like, first of all, bro, I'm waiting for my homie. He's like, forget him, get it. I was like, no, I'm waiting for my homie. As soon as that happened, me and him stopped talking.
That's crazy.
I mean, it is, but then if you really look at it, it's like if I'm if I've had like a pizza which is designated for my friend, you don't know if my friend was hungry or anything like that. But yet you want to get angry over just because I didn't give you a pizza, but yet you're like near a supervisor or something like that. That's all I'm like, man, whatever. Es- Especially theoretically,
That's
if a person is a supervisor, he's supposed to make more money than you, right?
yeah.
So why the heck you're getting mad over somebody not giving you their pizza?
That sounds very petty.
Yeah, well, you have people who are petty and they're basically immature. So the thing is though, I'm gonna have a stream about that. I guess how to deal with immature people. Because I know there's certain times in our lives that we've acted immature or something like that. But then there's maturity, and then there's
Hmm.
certain people that still want to dwell with immaturity. So it's like you don't. It's like where I guess from places that I worked, I've met people that I've actually bonded with, and I met a lot of emotionally immature people. I could actually say that.
Hmm. I agree. Now, if you don't mind me changing the topic
Uh, Yeah, all right.
a little bit, is seeing melanated people not to go to the DR.
All right. Well, to me, it's this. I think it's is propaganda because think about it. For some reason, when it's a certain group, um, they're always trying to push like, okay, certain people are not supposed to go there or whatsoever the case may be, and then coincide with the Hispano taps and what is actually going on in DR with the ultra nationalism and everything like that. I mean, if you actually look at it, if there've been a whole bunch of black people that have been living in Dominican Republic for like at least 500 years, right? So if they want to say, "Oh, dark people right there," whatsoever, okay. Case in point, you have certain ignorant people, but then if a person were to go to per se, where my parents are from, right? Anybody who's melanated or not, the police are not going to go around and harass you or anything like that. If anything, the police, like in the East and stuff, depending if they speak English or not, they could actually help you. But then it's like I guess
Hmm.
now they're saying that Abinader is going against Biden or something like that for whatever the case may be. I guess the because of I guess the deportation of Haitians or whatever. And it's been like a lot of and ever since they made that law in 2016 pertaining how should I say to Haitians that might have been born there and everything in the Dominican Republic, have men who are actually born in the Dominican Republic to Haitian parents saying, and now this law is saying that they're not citizens or whatsoever the case may be of the Dominican Republic. So now they're deporting a lot of people who were actually born in the Dominican Republic who were stripped of their citizenship and they do not really even know the land of Haiti. So that's been going on as well. But the thing is, though, now they want to say, "Oh, if you're a black person in the Dominican Republic, we're going to do this." it's all propaganda. And then you have certain YouTubers. I'm not going to say all, but certain YouTubers who are either American or not Dominican at all, that that they actually calling this out as crap. But then you have certain people that are just trying to feed into the propaganda. So therefore, a certain group could actually try to say, "Hey, go to my place," but it's not really going to happen. So,
well,
and another thing why
somebody's been to the D. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Another thing why I've been trying to say, it's been like a propaganda tool for in 2018, when certain American people have been passing it, I guess, for drinking bad liquor or or having a heart attack or anything like that. Instead of people saying like, okay, these person died of natural causes or anything like that, they're like, oh, don't go to DR or something like that. When the fact is, it was not even really that serious. And then second of all, it's like the reason why, because in 2018 of the anti-propaganda, is because Dominican Republic, I guess, severed its ties with Taiwan or stuff, and they was actually making an embassy in Beijing, I guess, to strengthen Dominican Republic and China relations as such. And since Trump was actually beefing with, not beefing, but I guess he was having tension with China. So whoever was I guess in charge of US propaganda or whatever went up and tried to spread the narrative like, don't go to DR. But yet again, you have certain people now who are actually in charge of anti-Dominican propaganda. And I'm not going to go around and say who it is, because if I say anything about, oh, you're a racist, but then you actually have certain people who are rich that actually live in the US and Canada, that they want to actually spread anti Dominican propaganda, so therefore they could try to not steal, but they could try to stop the money or tourism from actually going to DR. So therefore, that's why certain people, they actually been having anti Dominican propaganda ever since 2011. So that's my take on it.
Okay. Now, I've been blessed to the Dominican people are okay. Are there bad people in every group? Of course. But it's just that it's amazing where people can believe what they wish to believe. Now, look, when you're going to visit to another country, it will help if you try to learn a little bit about the country before you go there. So at least you can know how to behave. The problem is we have certain Americans who feel entitled. So when they go to places like the Dominican Republic or Cuba or anywhere in Latin America, they expect that everything is going to be similar to conditions in the United States. And that's not true. Okay. And that's not saying anything bad about those countries. That's a reality. Now, I do believe it's propaganda. I mean, because when you think about it, a good portion of their income that the DR gets is from tourism.
Yeah, it is. So I remember it was like around 2011 and 2012, right? And it was like right after the Haitian earthquake, or in 2010, right? So
yes.
you know, a lot of Dominicans, believe it or not, they even actually had songs, you know, talking about hate, talking about, you know, helping Haiti or whatever, right? So look,
Yes.
so look like around 2011 and 2012, we had certain people, like I'm talking about like in the Twitter spaces before, you know, it got so advanced right now. They're actually trying to tell people, oh, don't go to DR because of, you know, because what they're doing to Haitian citizens or whatever the case may be. I'm like, hold up, we just helped y'all, and then on top of it, y'all just spreading this anti-Dominican, don't go to Dominican tour rhetoric and everything. And a lot of people, they actually gave backlash to those on Twitter. They actually fought back and told people like, you, if y'all don't want to go, don't go. And then they want to go, and then on in how should I say, in and Facebook and everything like that, they was like, well, you know what? We're not going to DR because of how y'all treat and everything. Like, first of all, if y'all only been to the land, which is actually a tourist resort, you haven't hung around the communities or anything like that to see what is really real. So if you actually hang around the community, which is really real, and we're not talking about resorts or anything like that, if you actually get to know the people, get to eat with the people and everything like that, you will actually see that what the narrative that everybody wants to paint is not so.
Yeah. Yeah. How you do you wish to respond to what Irby said in his last statement? Uh, Maybe there is the reason why he's
Well,
muted. Okay.
to me is this, right? It's like
Yeah.
you have a whole bunch of a lot of people, they want to actually act like they're so outraged, right? But you have to think about something. Most of the people who are actually commenting about the outrage of Dominican Republic and everything like that, a lot of these people are not well traveled. Let's be honest. And the ones who are well traveled, right? There's a lot of ideologies that's going on within the African American collective, right? So when you have certain people who have those like a pro Africanism ideology, and then you have certain, and then when we try to, and then when they try to post like maybe their pseudo ideology on people, you have a whole bunch of people who are wild up and they want to say whatever they say out of emotion or something. But a lot of people don't actually do their research. They go by news articles and everything like that. But when the fact is, when people they actually try to talk bad about another community or anything like that, one thing I have to say about certain people, before you go and talk bad about a certain community or certain country, at least talk to the people, at least do your research, and and if you can, actually go to that country, and then you could go around and form your opinion. That's all I got to say.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't want to, look, like I said before. In my case, I've been to the DR twice. I had a wonderful time both times. The people are great. The food's, I mean, good. I mean, and boy, one thing I miss more than anything is sancocho and mango.
Oh yeah. I mean,
So,
one thing I actually miss about Dominican Republic is the Johnny Cake is up in
mhm.
San Pedro and
Oh,
dumplings.
would you believe I never had one of those Johnny cakes when I was in the
Oh
DR?
well, yeah. Well, what part did you go to when you went to DR?
Okay, I'm trying to think. The first time I was in Boca Chica,
All right.
and then the second time I was in Santiago.
All right. Yeah. I mean, okay. When you went to Boca Chica, were there people actually selling fried fish?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I stayed in a resort,
All right.
so
Yeah.
I
I'm
did.
just saying because. All right. Because I know.
To be, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I know sometimes, like, in the resorts or hotels in Boca Chica, right? They actually have certain people like within the beach and stuff that they actually sell like fried fish, etc. I mean, that's how they
Okay.
used to. I can't really say right now.
Yeah. Well, the second time I was in the DR, I actually stayed. Actually, I was staying at that time my sister-in-law. Um,
All right.
so and of course they show me around Santiago. Um, like I said, I had a wonderful time. Like I
Y-
said, the people are great. The country is beautiful. Do they have their problems? Of course. I mean, let's keep it real. And I'm not trying to say anything disparaging. You know,
All right.
the Dominican Republic is not a country like the United States that have a whole bunch of resources, but they do what they can.
Right. And to me, I'm like, at the end of the day, um, when there's people actually spewing anti-Dominican propaganda, not only is it going to be sensible people who's actually that are actually going to try to go against that. You're going to have certain entitled and brain damaged Hispanotypes who will go and they'll try to comment on the TikTok and everything like that, and try to spew their racist views. So now it's going to be a plethora of ideological and people cursing at each other and everything like that. Just wait, like I'll say from now till maybe January or February. It's gonna be heated, and by the time you actually see a lot of social media spaces talking about this, it's gonna be like a plethora of. It's just gonna be a plethora of trouble. I'm just predicting that right now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, unfortunately, bad news creates a lot of attention, or bad misinformation creates a lot of attention.
exactly.
Mhm. And what I will say to those, okay, let's see what this, what I mean.
Okay, well, to Irby Fatal, right?
They even treat
If,
dark skinned
if,
like
if you actually look at it,
saying that she's Dominican.
all right, so therefore, let's put it like this, Irby Fatal, all right? You have certain people who they actually think that they're in power or whatsoever the case may be, that will try to tell a person on who they are or anything like that. So they have a warped idea on what a Dominican is supposed to be. So the same amount of discrimination or certain people trying to tell you who you are or not, I've been faced that ever since the high school days till now. So when certain people, when I actually say that I am Dominican, they'll try to tell me that I'm not. Or the worst thing that I've heard from anybody who's actually been telling me this, oh, I'm a Haitian, or I'm a whatever. But the thing is, though, you could go around and say that, but at the end of the day, I got people who actually will actually tell people, yeah, he's one of us, and if you don't like it, they'll stand with me. So you got a lot of people who are actually standing with Amara La Negra who's going against those people or trying to say, oh, yeah, she's not Dominican or anything like that. Because it's when people actually say that, you have to look at what region they come from. Because originally in the Dominican Republic, you have the North region, right? Then you have the East, and then you have the South, right? So between the South and the East, right, you will have higher African descendants in the Dominican Republic. And then in the North, you will have maybe more European descendants. I'm not saying that there's no black people around there originally, because you had some black people around, some black descendants around those areas too. But it was mostly a higher European descendants in that region in the upper Dominican Republic, which is actually known as the Cibao. So where my parents came from is actually known as El Este. And then where Barahona and Bani is actually called El Sur. So if you actually look at all the aspects and everything, I think that Amara La Negra's mom, I don't know what part that she's from, but she could either be from the capital, she could either be from the east, or she could actually be from the south. So when you have certain people that have the ignorant mindset of what a Dominican is supposed to look like, you have certain people who actually hail from the upper region of Dominican Republic that still hold those sentiments. So it's a lot of ignorance that's been going on since the time of man. So when a person who thinks that all people of their people group is supposed to look like them, they've actually forgot all the other regions in the Dominican Republic that actually have people that do not look like them. That's all I got to say.
Well, I will say this. You can have Dominicans that are melanated like Don Armando, or you can have them as light as I am, or even lighter, or you can have someone in between. So there's no such thing as what a typical Dominican can look like. Okay. And I see Ato has an interesting point. Hispanic and Latino people are not a monolith. And that Latin America is diverse. Exactly.
Exactly.
And one thing we have to bear in mind.
But then you have certain people like the Hispanotaps that are trying to produce this lab that's a monolith and everything like that. And to me, when I actually say who I am, I actually have my proof and everything, but yet these guys are so much gaslighters that they want to go and try to tell a person who they are or not, or when they feel in their mind, oh, that person's not my people group, I'm going to tell people that they're not my people group. I'm like, okay, well, guess what? When a person actually makes certain fraudulent claims or whatsoever the case may be about certain individuals that might or might have not passed away, one thing you have to see is that all these guys, they want to post the monolith because they're not happy with them themselves. And it has been shown, or it was revealed, like I guess 2 or 3 years ago, that one of these Hispanotaps, the only reason that he's actually trying to promote his racist ideal is because, well, there's actually 2 reasons. One of these reasons is because his ex-girlfriend, who was African American, went up and left him for a lesbian. That's number one. And number two, the same person that I'm talking about, he wants to actually promote the racist ideal, so therefore he could be closer to his racist father. That's from what I've gotten from a certain Hispanic. Well, actually, when a certain Hispanotype was really exposed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know I've said this like 89 gazillion million times.
Yeah, I know.
But the reality, there's good and bad in everywhere. Everywhere.
Yep.
Okay. Unfortunately, what happens is the bad ones always get the attention. The good ones you don't hear jack about.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but the fact that but the whole yeah but the original thing about can we learn from our mistakes is that can we first admit we made a mistake and learn from them.
All right.
Now, yeah, I'm gonna share something that happened. Actually, it happened here on this platform. Um, Last year, I think was it last year. Uh, Me and Denise, and I see you have Reese from Philly. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good
We
evening,
had a
Reese. How's your
discussion.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving or Indigenous Peoples Day because some people, they celebrate different things. But now Denise was stating that the pandemic was over. I respectfully disagreed. What we both had the discussion. We both share our data. Okay. And I came to the realization Denise was correct and I was wrong. The world did not end. I did not die. I actually admitted I was wrong. And I learned from that.
Right.
And and that's what mature people do.
Yeah, but where it's like whenever you're dealing with immature people that they just don't want to admit defeat, it actually shows bad to them to everything. So, well, in that case, sir, I gotta go because it looks like somebody's knocking on the door. So I'll catch you later.
Oh well, thank you very much for stopping by. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Well, I do appreciate the fact. You know what? I do appreciate the interaction in the chat, and the fact of the matter is, we can disagree and be agreeable when we disagree, and we can learn through disagreements. So I know in some platforms they want to cheat, they want to maintain what's called an echo chamber. That's not that's we don't do that here. Here we encourage free and intelligent discussion uh, regarding the issue. Okay, and the bottom line is we can learn from each other. You may have some truth, and I may have some truth, and together we come up with the actual truth. And when we learn how to do that, we're better off as such. Now, I would appreciate a couple more likes before we end this stream. I'm going to put one more time. Okay, you know what, Irby? Thank you very much for stopping by, and I do appreciate your honesty. Thank you very much, Irby. And please bear in mind that you're always welcome to be here to express your point of view. And if we disagree, let's be agreeable when we disagree. And thank you very much. Have a good night. So I do appreciate, like I said, I do appreciate it. Okay. But we can all learn. And that's the main thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this up as well, because it's been almost 2 hours. I just want to say thank you for Magic, Arturo, Gigi, Irby, and Reese for their commentary in the chat. I do appreciate the fact that Don Armando for hopping on the panel. After the stream is over, you're more than welcome to express comments. Just keep it respectable. That's all I ask. So that being said, let's be that during this holiday season, that there are people who are not as fortunate as we are. Oh, how could I forget? Oh, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry, Future. I completely forget. Okay. You know what? You're absolutely correct. My bad. I apologize. You know what? That's the reason why I don't like to mention individual members in the chat, because I don't want to overlook anybody and then they get mad at me and unsubscribe to my channel. But I do ask, if you have not done so, please subscribe to my channel. Okay? And do check out my content. It's all good, Feature. It's all good. But I really did enjoy the stream. And what I love about the Uncommon folk is their willingness to express their point of view. I really appreciate that. And actually, what you do is you keep me honest. So that being said, I'm just going to say to all the Uncommon folk, thank you very much. You all know who you are. Okay. And right now I have 184 subs. So I would like to get to 200 before the end of the year. If I get there, great. If not, I'm not going to sweat it. I'm just going to go and continue to be the best version of Jose Negron. So that being said, I'm going to wish everyone a very pleasant good night. Oops, yes. Let me just get this last comment. Okay. Yes, good night, Future. Good night. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. I apologize. My computer is acting up now, so I think it's a good time for me to say good night. Thank you very much, and peace out.
Strong.